Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for the Binding Coil of Bahamut, Turn 4. This is a multi-phase encounter that relies not only on high rate damage output, but also precise execution. My name is Miss Tech, and I'll be your dungeon guide. In this video, I'll be showing you the general strategy that my group uses, but it's important to keep in mind that the order you may kill things in the end phases may change depending on your own group composition. The key to success in this fight is being as fluid as possible and adapting to each phase as is necessary for your group. There are a total of 6 phases in this fight. The first phase you'll encounter is a group of 6 CLOCKWORK spiders. These should be grabbed by your tanks and AoE'd down by the group. This is a great time for paladins to use cover on any suicidal DPS. If used here, it'll be up for the next AoE phase as well. These spiders do very little on their own, but in subsequent phases, they'll become more and more annoying, as you'll soon see. You have a little over a minute for each phase before the next one will automatically spawn. Should you kill each mob in the phase, the next phase will automatically spawn regardless of how fast you're going through each phase. While the fight has an overall enrage timer, each phase acts as a mini raid check. Ideally, you want to be in control and pushing into each phase instead of the other way around, or you'll quickly get overwhelmed. In the second phase, 2 groups of 2 mobs will spawn at the northwest and northeast sections of the room. The 2 tanks split up and take the 2 groups on their respective spawn points. Here is where it gets a little interesting. The knight and the soldier both have a stone skin that absorbs around 7k damage before breaking, and the clockwork knight will also reflect any magic damage back to the caster. We split up our raid here based on magic or physical damage, each damage dealer focusing on their respective targets with the intent of destroying the northwest mobs first before switching to the northeast side. We start with the northwest group because the northwest tank needs to be free and ready for the third phase. A couple things to note about the knights and the soldiers. They do a point blank headspin that will damage anyone in melee range. This is also part of the reason we keep the 2 groups separate, to reduce the amount of outgoing damage. If you have any melee, paladins can cover them in this phase to reduce the burden on the healers. These mobs will also pull their primary target towards them, so if tanks get too far out of melee range, they'll be bounced around, which can get pretty annoying. Once the stone skin falls off, the mobs will be immobilized for a few seconds and ideally should be killed during this time. If they're up long enough to recast stone skin, you're going to have a bad time, so be sure they're destroyed before switching to your next target. In phase 3, a massive dreadnought and 4 clockwork spiders will spawn. The dreadnought will spawn in the northwest corner, and the spiders will spawn around the room and most likely aggro onto one of the healers. The dreadnought has a really nasty cleave, so be sure you are not standing in front of him. Instead, stack up right behind him. The goal is to bring the clockwork spiders close, and once within range, the dreadnought will devour any nearby spiders. These spiders will heal the dreadnought for their health and give him a stacking damage buff. This phase is a massive DPS check, and a healing check, and I guess a tank check. The DPS check comes from destroying the dreadnought before phase 4 and more spiders spawn, otherwise the dreadnought will heal and it's game over. The healing and tank checks come from being able to manage the 4 stacks of the damage buff on the dreadnought and eating the massive cleaves. Tanks and healers need to be ready with their cooldowns here. Once the dreadnought is down, phase 4 begins with 2 spinner rooks in the middle and another 4 spiders around the outside of the room. We assign 1 tank per spinner rook and have each of them pick up the spiders on their side before stacking everything together. The spinner rooks have a frontal cast called Pox that will put up a healing debuff on anyone caught in their cast. This does not have a telegraph and is similar to Garuda's slipstream ability. We have the tanks face the spinner rooks to the south while the rest of the raid is in the middle or the north of the room. Both tanks need to watch out for the Pox cast and run through the spinner rook before the cast ends. While getting 1 stack of Pox isn't that bad, getting hit with multiple stacks can be devastating. Our group tends to focus down each rook before AoEing the spiders down. Ideally, you want to go into phase 5 with absolutely no spiders up. In phase 5, a new dreadnought will spawn in the northeast corner. If you still have spiders up, try to keep them in the middle, but it is possible to handle 1 or 2 stacks on that dreadnought. Any more and the healing might get too intense. Along with the dreadnought, another knight and soldier will spawn in the middle and southeast sections of the room. We have the second tank pick up the knight and soldier while the entire raid switches to the dreadnought. Some groups prefer to destroy the knight and soldier before switching to the dreadnought, but we found that it is easier to handle phase 6 with as few dreadnoughts up as possible, so we focus the dreadnought down first. Doing it this way will probably mean you'll still have the phase 5 knight and soldier up when phase 6 begins, but no problem. In phase 6, another dreadnought, knight, and soldier will spawn, along with 1 spinner rook and 2 more spiders. The dreadnought will spawn in the same spot and the tank should pick it up immediately. The rest of the mobs will spawn around the middle of the room. In our group, we have the second tank pick up the rest of these mobs. Chances are the phase 6 Dreadnought will eat at least one of the new spiders, so tanks be sure to let your healers know if you're expecting a higher amount of incoming damage. In phase 6, we focus the spinner rook first. Melee limit break is perfect for this if you have one to spare. Once the rook is down, we have the raids split up in their usual groups to destroy the knights and the soldiers. Once all the smaller mobs are down, the entire group stacks up behind the Dreadnought and begins to nuke it down. Depending on your gear level and how well you've executed the phases, you may encounter the final enrage, a pulsing AoE that damages everyone in the raid. This can be healed through relatively easy, so you do have a few extra seconds to destroy the Dreadnought if you do manage to hit that enrage timer. Once the last Dreadnought is killed, you've finally defeated turn 4. While it can get pretty hectic in the last few phases, remember that you can choose your DPS order in whatever way suits your own raid composition. There's no true universal way to this encounter, so have fun with it. Congratulations on your new loot. You're going to need it for turn 5. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.